Legacy is a funny word, isn't it? I mean, you have players with verifiable legacies, your LeBron, MJ, Kareem, etc., etc. And then there are those who are not so easy to grasp. CP3, Steve Nash, for example. Players that we know are great, yet we don't know exactly how great they are. Lost in time and space in the collective memory of basketball fans. Perhaps it is due to their lack of hardware, or maybe it's the lack of the ultimate hardware. Thus, they are oftentimes merely relegated to be mentioned as an answer to a trivia question that only hardcore fans would know. And I believe no player resembles these ambiguous souls in basketball more than Jimmy Butler. As in the midst of his trade talk, I found myself pondering the question, how will Jimmy Butler be remembered? Jimmy Butler entered the league without much hype. As right after high school, he didn't get recruited to any major basketball program. So he played for Tyler Junior College, and after his freshman season, where he averaged 18.1 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 3.1 assists per game, he was noticed by scouts from Marquette University, receiving a scholarship to play there. And in college, Jimmy's numbers weren't eye-catching, as he averaged in his first season as a starter 14.7 points and 6.4 rebounds per game. Thus, when he enrolled into the loaded 2011 NBA draft, Jimmy was an afterthought to many, getting the call finally as the number 30 pick to the Chicago Bulls. In Chicago, well, he showed some moments of brilliance here and there, yet not consistent enough to be of note. Hence, in the 2017 offseason, Jimmy was traded to the Timberwolves. Much like his arrival to the NBA, this move wasn't met with much interest or fanfare. He appeared to be a good enough player to not be a role player, but not good enough to be a superstar quite yet. Besides, in that offseason, most were more concerned with Kyrie's move to the Celtics, and with the Wolves, Jimmy almost broke out as one of the best players in the league. Yet it all came crashing down when the famous training incident happened. Jimmy appeared to be upset and frustrated amid his contract negotiations, lashing out and cussing everyone at the gym. Many, after this incident, labeled him as a locker room cancer, someone whose ego is far too big to work with. As a result, Jimmy left the Wolves after only playing one season there, unable to showcase his true potential. After the Wolves, many teams weren't so keen on having him. He seemed to be not worth the headache, they thought. And if any team were to take him, it would be of minimal role. And that team was indeed the 76ers. Jimmy was great with them, even helping them almost reach the conference finals. Yet, it is that mark and label that was given to him as a headache, and not truly a superstar, that hampered down any chance for Jimmy to shine in Philly. For a time, the verdict was set for him. He is to be a good role player at best and a troublemaker at worst. Nevertheless, one team gave Jimmy a chance that he has never been given before. The chance to be the main guy, the lead man. A team that is notorious for the exact mixture of crude and brilliance that Jimmy possessed. And that team was the Miami Heat. And once Jimmy was given the keys, he never gave them back, helping Miami in his very first season to reach the NBA Finals. And in 2022, leading the Heat to the conference finals. Feats and achievements that were thought to be in the very distant future in any post-LeBron team. And in 2023, Jimmy delivered his magnum opus, leading the 8th seed Miami Heat all the way to the NBA Finals, shocking many contenders along the way, with amazing performances, something akin to prime Michael Jordan. But if Jimmy has achieved so much, why is his legacy so confusing? The answer to that lays in the regular season. While Jimmy has been great in the postseason, it's the regular season where his accolades has been lacking, as he only managed in his 14 seasons in the NBA to get selected to the All-Star Game 6 times. No MVPs, no Defensive Player of the Year, and no nothing. A resume you'd expect from a really good role player, but not a franchise player. A player that plays just above average in the regular season and then explodes in the postseason. Trying or even attempting to examine such legacy is hard, as we truly haven't seen a player that possessed the same package before. While we are more than accustomed to the opposite, we simply don't know how to gauge this predicament. Perhaps in that resides the answer to the confusion, as we ought not to compare Jimmy to anyone. In many ways, his true legacy could be viewed as a statement about the fragility or the meaninglessness of the regular season. as many players nowadays care far too much about their stats or achievements. Jimmy delivers through his play, a harsh rebuttal to it all, denouncing their value and only focusing on the ultimate goal. I guess, after all, his legacy was always meant to be confusing, as he is truly one of one.